So yeah, presentations can be tricky sometimes. The first talk I ever gave at a conference, I have no memory of. I remember walking onto stage. I remember starting to talk, and then I remember people clapping 20 minutes later at the end. And I have no memory of what happened in between. I was so freaked out. Um, and it gets easier with time, right? So part of the reason for doing SLPs and presentations in here is just to give us practice because we're a friendly crowd, right? And we're all kind of in the same boat here, so it's a pretty safe environment, and I think everybody's doing a great job on their presentations. Um, so that's really awesome. And yeah, it's cool working in groups too. Um, because that's another challenge. That's something that I've always had a hard time with. Um, is working in groups and figuring out how to split work up and stuff like that, and it's something that you get better with the more practice you have, and you'll get a lot of practice at university doing group work because a lot of your projects you'll be required to do in groups. All right, let me put my recorder back on. How can I get multiple inputs at one time? What do we mean by multiple inputs, I guess? Like multiple inputs from where?
Oh, do you mean the thing about the I forget what it's called, where it's you have like a loop running in the background that watches for input.
Hmm.
or or maybe it's like a runtime thing that like you type something in and it waits for a second input or something like that, and then when you put the input in, then it does something.
Um,
Yes.
that could be. Um, so PA5 is reading from standard in, and so it's you can read one line at a time, right? So do something like. Right. So if you do a read line in your script, so put your make a while loop that basically reads from standard in and gets a line. $sign Linux. $sign line. Um, so there's the variable that was just read in, and now you can start running that through tr to convert to case. You can run it through sed to get rid of special characters, all that kind of stuff, right? And then when you're done, you've got a variable, and you can do that for loop to read through. Um, so if I look at $sign question mark after I read a line, I'll get a 0. If I say read line and I hit a control D for end of file, and I look at $sign question mark, I've got a 1. And so if I'm doing this in a loop, I can check for end of file by looking at $sign question mark. So we can do something like that. So I can say do more equals 1. So while do more equals 1 do, so if that input line is not available because I hit the end of the file or because the user hit Control D, I'll say do more equals 0. I think I can do a continue. I could have done a break if I wanted. So there's an attempt at a basic loop structure for PA5, right? Read a line. If the status variable after that is not 0, I probably hit the end of the file. So I'm going to clear my do more flag and go back to the top of my loop. And otherwise, I'll go ahead and $ line is the input. PA5, you would cleanse it. You would break it into phrases. You tally those phrases and so on. And so let's just say all input has been read. Goodbye. Right, so it's reading from standard in. It's taking whatever I type and putting it in this $ line variable, and then when I hit Control D, it tells me all input has been read. Goodbye. And if I feed this, the result of if I redirect input from some file, like ~rc, it'll go through and read each line from that until it gets to the end of the file, and then it'll say, all input has been read. If I pipe a command into it, it will read the results of that command and show me each line, and then when it hits the end of the command, when the command exits, it gets end of file and it says goodbye. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And yeah, so you don't need an escape keyword. It's actually just going to be end of file. So from standard in, you can hit a Control D to signal you're at the end of your input. If you're reading from a file by redirecting or using a pipe, when you're done, when you've hit the end of the file, it'll do the same thing as typing a Control D, and this read will set $? To something non-zero, so that gets you out.
There's also, you can do a cool one-liner with cat space hyphen.
Cat space hyphen.
Yeah. It'll just take stdin until end of file.
Yeah. So cat is if you just do cat, that'll read from standard in and send to standard out until you hit Control D. And same thing, you can run a command and pipe that into cat. And you could actually pipe that into cat, and it'll do the same thing. All right, what else can I tell you? We got 4 minutes left. That is, very literally everything you need to know that you didn't already know for PA5. It's putting it together to get what you want. Let me remind you a little bit about sed. So I mentioned getting rid of, say, multiple spaces. If you do sed s/space *//g, that gets rid of multiple spaces on a line. And the way this is working is this is saying I want to find a space, and then this space star says I want to find 0 or more spaces. So anywhere in my string that it finds a single space followed by 0 or more spaces, those are going to get replaced by the stuff between these two slashes, which is nothing. So it's going to delete those consecutive spaces. So if I do whoop, that did not work.
Extra S in your set.
Thank you. That would have taken me a while to spot. All right, so that's getting rid of all my embedded spaces. And if I had said, you know, replace this with, you know, I don't know, an exclamation mark, right? My multiple spaces we get compressed down to a single exclamation mark. Right, so sed in this form is basically saying let's do a substitution. Let's take anything that matches this and replace it with that. And the G says do it everywhere on the input line instead of just the first time you find something.
What if the thing you put in that you replace is like you do like a single or double quote and then a thing between those two slashes?
Like in here?
No, like where you have that equal sign, or sorry, the exclamation point, just like to like double quote H double quote /G. Or
I think it'll replace it with a quote H quote.
I'm just curious what it does.
Yeah, so
happens here?
it replaces those consecutive spaces with a quote and H and a quote. So it's pretty literal, yeah. And we'll play a lot more with sed maybe tomorrow. It can do a lot of things. So like a period will match any character in our input string. And so if I replace period with ha ha, I'm saying any time that you find a character, replace it with ha ha. And so, you know, replaces every character in my string with ha ha. So we'll dig a little more into sed tomorrow, and that'll get us starting about regular expressions, which will be its own topic. All right, we're out of time. That was a fast 50 minutes. Go ahead and send me an attendance ping on the way out, and have a good one. I will see you next time.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Seems a lot slower if you're cold.
If you're what?
Cold.
Oh, yeah.